What's up, guys? It's Wero. Can everybody hear me? So today's guest is DTP, Disturbing the Peace, man. I know I don't even have to introduce the man. Everybody knows who he is. Everybody knows what's up. So we're going to bring him out and start the show. What's up, big
What's up?
homie? How you
What's
doing?
up? What's up, gentlemen,
Yep.
ladies, children? How we all
Bro,
doing?
I see you back there, too. The whole time the intro was going on and the beats, you was just doing
You
it.
gotta
Just
be locked
hitting it.
in, bro. You
Yeah.
gotta be locked in.
I feel you. I do the same thing. That I don't know who chose that 1 minute countdown music, but they did a great job. That shit hit.
Absolutely.
It slaps.
You have me
Um,
twerking over here.
So, my man, we got a lot to talk about with you, bro. We got a lot. DTP got his hands in everything.
I've been busy,
So,
man.
yeah. All your fights, power slap, your career aside, we also don't know anything about you. Nothing. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
this is what this podcast is for. Like, we want everybody to find out who everybody is. So we'll start from the beginning, man. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up? Where were you born?
I was born in Santa Ana, California, while my mom was visiting some family, but I was raised in San Diego, California, specifically South San Diego, which is San Isidro, which is why I would shout out specifically San Isidro. It's a 98% Mexican community. It's a rock throw away from the border.
Uh-huh.
And my dad was a Border Patrol agent for 26 and a half years. He moved out from Texas. That's why we're out here in San Diego. My dad got me that cowboy hat. That's why I always rock it in the fights. It's like
Okay.
it's
Okay.
my totem of my power, where I get my power from. You know?
Okay. I like that. Hold on, my bad. We got a weird comment here that we're just gonna get rid of. Boop. That was
Nah,
very,
you're
very
good.
weird.
I get like the death threats, and
Yeah,
hate mail like
yeah,
every
that
day,
was
bro. It's every day for me.
that was a comment that literally just said something about the Nazis did nothing wrong, blah blah blah. I'm not gonna entertain
Oh
that.
my god.
We're just blocking that person.
Yeah,
Um,
that's not cool.
Yeah, because not only is that odd to do that to a podcast like this, it's just completely erroneous as well.
Yeah, I didn't know we had Kanye as a fan, honestly.
Man, I mean, at one
Tell
point in
him to
time, that would have
shout
been
us
cool.
out.
Yeah, at
I
one
know.
point in time, that would have been cool, but a shout out from Kanye these days doesn't. I don't know if that's helping the views at all. So yeah, you're raised in San Isidro, you said?
San Isidro, yeah.
Yeah, Isidro.
It's
Okay,
it's Cedro, but it has a Y in the front. San Isidro.
yeah, that's exactly how I said it. So, okay, down by the border, and you were born down there?
I was born in Santa Ana, so like I
Oh
got
yeah,
family.
yeah, okay, you did.
I got
say that.
family on my mom's side from Santa Ana to Mexico, and family on my dad's side from Texas to Mexico.
So where's Santa Ana at? What state?
Santa
is that?
Ana is just south of LA.
Just south of LA. Okay. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I was like born by the Anaheim Stadium, by the Angel Stadium.
Oh, okay, I used to live out that way. Yeah.
Oh,
Alright,
okay.
I got you. Yeah. I lived in Moreno Valley for a little while.
Oh, word, word.
Yeah. Yeah. Not together though.
Yeah, just with Tank.
Just just
Separately.
with Tank separately. But
Yeah.
in our defense, he's very snuggly. You know what I mean? They call him
Yeah.
Tank, but he's not that hard. Pause.
Hell
So
yeah, Fiji. What's up? Shout out to Fiji. Shout out to everybody. Sam K.
yeah.
Everybody in the chat.
Mad shout out to Fiji. So okay, you're born, raised in roughly California and everything. How old are you right now?
25 years old.
Okay, young.
So I was born in 97.
97. Okay, so you grew up in California, very Mexican area, and you're Mexican, and
Yeah.
so that works out. That checks. So I asked you earlier if you spoke Spanish, and you said a little bit. That
Yeah,
poses-
I'm actually I work on the border now. I do security on one of the border areas, and so 95% of my interactions are in Spanish. So I'm like really getting on the Spanish, but
Yeah, you are.
yeah, I'm working
And
on it.
that's good. That's dope. That's dope. And when I asked that, I was actually going to post when I post a locked in clip, I like to throw music on there, and I listen to music from all kinds of different languages, so I always look for a chance to use anything from another in another country. I love it.
Yeah,
Any other
hell
music.
yeah.
So But the reason I brought that up right now is your home life growing up. I know you're Mexican and you grew up in South California, but you didn't speak Spanish very well. So I'm wondering what it makes me wonder what that dynamic was in your household. Like,
Well, we always just spoke English in the house.
mm-hmm.
Because my mom was raised in Mexico, but she went to school in San Diego, and then she went to she had a full ride scholarship to I forget the Aztecs. She had a full ride scholarship over there, but she had
Is that SDSU?
SDSU, yeah.
Yeah.
But just like economically, she couldn't make it from Mexico to over there all the time. It's just short on money. So the travel was an issue for her. So she just ended up, even though she had full ride, all that stuff, she ended up just kind of turning an eye to that and going to work. And she met my dad because she started working for the Border Patrol as like a secretary. And my dad was like a supervisor at the time. And that's how they met. My mom always aspired to be a police officer. So once they got together, my dad helped her out with that. And she ended up becoming a police officer.
Okay. Did that help influence you with their law enforcement background?
Yeah, because
where you're going?
Because it was all English. It was all like professional, like focused on the professional realm of things. Like they didn't want me to have like an accent and stuff like that. And like they were worried about me not getting like jobs if I didn't speak English very well. And you know, had that accent and stuff like that.
And I feel where they're coming from. You know what I mean? Like back
well,
in
especially
the day,
during the time I was growing up
during
too.
That
like,
time, yeah.
It was coming to the end of that, like where, well, not coming to the end of it, but it was coming out of like the 90s and stuff.
Yeah, and it wasn't
too great back then.
No, everybody was speak English or get out. And now we're one of the few countries in the world who aren't like very, very accepting of dual languages or multiple languages in general. I think that's really odd.
I think it's just an arrogance of our country of always like we're always in the right.
Oh yes.
And so our language is right, our politics are right, and we don't have any sort of room for discussion when it comes to that thing. But I mean nowadays, you know, it's more of an asset to be bilingual, especially where I work. You know, I actually struggle now because I don't speak Spanish. So it's weird how that like it's like that Oedipus complex where you try to avoid something and then it ends up happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Like same. I do construction and I learned a little bit of Spanish, enough to get by, but I definitely wish I'd have learned more because you know where I grew up, there were Spanish speaking. I definitely should have learned, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So
and I'm real patriotic too. Like I love the country that I come from, and I love the country that my blood comes from. You know, I have this love for both nations, and I just got to rep that within me. You know, I can't like speak for or you know take responsibility for the actions of the countries, but I know that like I'm with the people. I don't mess with the government, but I'm with the people.
Yeah, I fuck with that. I absolutely fuck with that. So you're growing up. What was little DTP? What was little baby Dorian Perez like? And you know, middle school, high school, elementary school.
I grew up like chubby, man. So like I would always get bullied, and then they knew I didn't speak Spanish. So that was a point of like to bully me. They would talk shit in Spanish, and it bothered me, but it never got to a boiling point until one of my friends, her name was Tia, and she was one of the only black girls in the school. It was her and her sister. They were both black, and it was two twin boys, Mexican boys. And they were pulling her hair on the bus. And I saw that from the back. I didn't even talk to Tia at the time. And I saw that, and it just lit a fucking fire under my ass. Like, and I just went over there, and I sucked the first one. He went, like, over the seat, and the other one started pulling my hair. I had a long, like, little Leon Kennedy hair. He started pulling my hair, and I'm upside down, and I'm just swinging on the other one. And so that was, like, my first fight ever was in response to somebody else getting bullied. And it wasn't myself getting bullied. That was more like my problem. Okay, I could deal with that because anytime I retaliated, since I'm so big, I would always get in trouble for the retaliation. So I never retaliated on my own. But when I saw somebody else getting fucked with the way that I got fucked with, I would just go off. It wasn't even like a question. And so I fucked those two kids up, and that started like my fighting career. My mom, she was a cop at the time, and she put me in Muay Thai with her, and so I was her same height and weight. And so I was her sparring partner. My first sparring partner was my mom.
Your mom trains Muay Thai?
Yeah, well, she did. She did.
That
Now she,
that's so fucking cool. That's
yeah,
so
she's a
cool.
beast.
Yeah,
She was a
that's
badass cop,
awesome.
dude. She's a
Yeah,
cop in Coronado, California, just like fucking people up.
yeah, that's so dope. Yeah, that's awesome.
She's
So
a
she
beast, but
got you.
she doesn't fight clean. She fights dirty. Like,
Well,
even
of
till
course.
today, she'll start fucking with me and she'll hit me in the nuts and then uppercut me. She's like, I'm like, dude, you don't have to. This is not for a belt.
It's not
Chill.
that serious. Yeah, it's not even in a street fight. Nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah, at this
she
point you're
just
just
likes
cheating.
messing with me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah, you had a mom that got you in the gym with her, Muay Thai. So that started your desire to train martial arts. About how old were you
yeah.
when that happened?
Say 9 years old.
9 years old. Okay, so you started fairly early. How long did you train
Yeah,
Muay
and then
Thai before you
I trained
transitioned
Muay
to
Thai
anything
for a
else?
year, and then I
Mm-hmm.
went to. I was in baseball at the time, like all
Okay.
throughout the kid. Like I did
Yeah.
baseball for like 7 years, and then I started Muay Thai in between that. And so once I switched to football, once I hit middle school, went to football, I only did football, and I
Okay.
did football for 6 years, including high school.
Okay.
And well,
What
you could
what
say
position? What position did you play?
I was always a guard when I was a little slower, and
Mm-hmm.
then I got to senior year. I played left tackle, and I would pull and do like safety blocks on sweeps and stuff like that. That was my shit. I made all state doing safety blocks like that, just ignoring my defender,
Nice.
running 45 degrees down the field and smacking the safety, and then we'd get a touchdown on right sweep every fucking time.
No
It was
shit.
beautiful.
Now,
But yeah,
I'm
so I stopped doing the martial arts until I did wrestling in high school. Did wrestling my ninth grade year,
okay.
and I just was like, wow, it was I was a beast in football, and I went and I just got humbled in the
Yep.
wrestling room. I was like, these guys
Wrestling is a
train
whole
harder.
different sport, man. It's a
They're
whole different
starving. They
sport.
train hard. Yeah, so like that kind of gave me the idea of like how I need to train
Hmm.
once I got into martial arts.
Except the
But I don't
starving
need it.
part. Except the starving part. Nobody wants to
Yeah,
starve.
yeah, yeah. I'm a heavyweight, so I don't really want to
Yeah.
starve. But
Nah.
my coach, that's the thing, is my coach made me starve. Like I was
Mhm.
heavyweight, I was 280, and he was like, your goal is to get down to 220. He was a Marine. He was in Fallujah. The guy was a beast. Is a beast. Shout out to Coach Mario. He just ranked up in at Chula Vista Jiu Jitsu Club. Just got a new belt. That gentleman made me cut weight to 220, and he made me fight for the spot of heavyweight. So he's like, or fight for the 220 spot. So I got down to 220 in a season, and once I got there, he's like, okay, now wrestle Hondo for the heavyweight spot. So I had to wrestle Hondo. I got beat by Hondo, and I still have to wrestle. Goddamn, I'm a 220 guy, and I wrestled heavyweight.
Yeah.
My coach tried to teach me a fucking lesson,
Yeah.
and I got bodied most of my wrestling matches. But I remember the first wrestling match I won, I was an alternate for another team. So like if you have when you're at duos meets,
Mhm.
you have your team set up, and if another team at the tournament doesn't have a guy and you have an extra guy, you'll go over and wrestle for the other team for their points. So my first win wasn't even for our team; it was for another team, and my teammates weren't even watching. It was the other team that was cheering me on, and my dad. My coach wasn't there, but my dad and the other team was there, and they were cheering me on. I have a different singlet on, and I pinned the guy in like a minute. It was awesome.
How much shit did you get from that?
How much? What for winning
Yeah,
for the other
from your
team? No, I
team.
didn't.
Yeah.
I did. It wasn't against our team. It was
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
against a different team. It's like a tournament style thing.
Okay, then that counts. That's a win.
Yeah.
A win is a win. Yeah, that's super
Yeah.
dope. Okay, so you start wrestling. That's your first foray into competing, like really competing in any type of
Yeah,
martial
and like
art.
tournaments and stuff like that.
Okay, and you did that from, you said you started ninth grade till how long did you do that again?
Just ninth grade. Just ninth grade.
Just
My
ninth
sophomore
grade?
year.
Okay.
Sophomore year, I hurt my knee. I tore MCL, ACL, PCL in my right knee, and I took a month off of football. Continued football, and then once I tried to do wrestling, the mechanics of that was not working out.
They weren't
I
conducive
needed
to
more
that.
time to heal.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the rest of your high school career, did you do football?
I just did football, and then once football was over, I switched to powerlifting. Back when I was 18, I think my squat was like 400 and something, 420. My
Did your
deadlift was like
school have a
500.
powerlifting team?
No, but my dad was a powerlifter in the 90s. He was in the 90s and the early 2000s. He competed in the police Olympics. So when I was 13, he started teaching me how to lift. And my dad got gold and silver and shit in police Olympics. He was a badass, dude. His freaking warm-up was like 500. I think my biggest bench was like 320, something like that. But the dude was just if you look at my hands, like his hands were 2 times thicker than mine. Like he was a goddamn caveman. I'm
You
only
come
like
from
half the man he was.
solid stock. You come from solid stock, bro. Your mom sounds like a beast. Your dad sounds like a beast.
I
Everybody
should
sounds
tell you
like
about
a beast.
my grandma with the 2 attempted murder charges that she had.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us about that.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
well, I should tell you about my grandpa first because it sets up the grandma thing. So my
Okay.
grandfather, when he was 14, he used to run prostitutes out of a speakeasy that he in one of the dry counties of Texas.
So
So
granddad was a pimp.
so granddad was slanging dick, and like to respect, he was a silver fox, man. Like even way later on, there was an old lady who came up to my uncle and was like, every day I saw your grandpa watering the grass, I wanted to go over there and rip off my shirt and give it to him. And then she's like 70 years old at the time. She's still thinking about like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man. But anyway, he did that to make a little money here and there. So grandpa was always like throwing that thing around. Well, my grandmother years and years later finds out he's cheating with one of the girls from the church. So she calls her up, hey, you
From
need to ride to
church?
church. From church, yes.
Pretty sure
So
that's frowned upon.
She calls her up.
Jesus don't like that.
The church don't have a good track record anyway. But
Is it Catholic
so
church?
yeah, I guess so. That time,
Yeah.
Catholic.
Okay. Adultery is probably some of the least of their worries over there.
Yeah. That's probably they probably appreciate that. You
Ranked
just stick
low
it,
on the totem pole. Yeah.
keep it there.
Low.
Keep it the fuck there.
Yeah. Right.
My grandma found out. She calls the lady and says, "Hey, you need to ride to church." She goes, "Oh yeah, thank you, cool." Picks her up, and then they go park somewhere. And then my grandma tells her to get out of the car real quick because she's like, "Oh, something's wrong with the tire." She gets out of the car, and my grandma just starts fucking her up, boom, 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 and puts her in the trunk.
Wait, how old is
So
she at the time?
She's got to be like 30 something.
Oh, okay. I thought you said for a minute that she was in her 70s at that
Oh
time.
no. I'm sorry.
Grandma got
That
hands in her
story
70s. Okay, in her 30s.
That was a neighbor lady talking about my grandfather.
Yeah, okay, got you.
Yeah.
I'm cleaned
Well,
up now, thank you. So she
yeah.
starts throwing hands.
She starts throwing hands. She fucks her up. She puts her in the trunk of her little Cadillac that she had.
Okay.
And she's driving around and she doesn't know what to do with her. So every little like 30 minutes, she stops and opens the trunk and whoops her ass.
So she didn't think
finally,
that all the way through, huh?
No, she just was mad. And so she finally was like, fuck, okay. So she goes and ties her to a tree and just left her there. Didn't tell nobody. And so finally, whenever the APD found her, the cops surrounded my grandma's house. They took her away, and I don't know how she beat the charges, but she beat it. And there was another lady.
She
who
completely beat the charges? She didn't
have no attempted murder charges.
Nothing?
She didn't spend no time. She didn't spend any time. She just went to jail and got out.
Yeah.
This is like the
very
60s.
least that's assault. Okay, 60. She talked her way out of it, huh? She's like, my bad, that won't happen again.
No, she's like, she's fucking my husband. I'll kill her again.
Yeah.
So they're like, damn, this is a civil matter. We got to get out of here.
Okay.
But there was another lady who same thing. They were fighting, and that lady's like hand was in my grandma's face, and her finger went into her mouth, and my grandma bit down and ripped her finger off and spit it on the side of the road. They went back and they never found that lady's finger. And
bro, Granddad got the
wild.
most dangerous dick in the state, and it
makes him go nuts, bro. It makes him go nuts.
The most dangerous dick in the state. That is fucking insane. That's funny.
He's slanging. Really I got one of his mugshots somewhere. Send it to
I
me.
thought you were about to say cock rings.
Yeah. Oh, nah, that's me.
I'm like, okay, that's what he passed down to you. Just all that dick slap.
This is a fucking wooden dildo, dude, carved.
Right. Oh,
Fucking,
yeah, that's nuts.
Vintage.
Yeah. So, okay, that was a great little segue there.
That's where I come from, man. That's just the people that made me. It's like a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah, it checks out too, because you're pretty certifiably insane sometimes. Like not all the time, but on occasion, I can see you just flip that switch and lose your goddamn mind.
I get there, dude. I get there.
Yeah.
It's like it gets to that red line and you flip. As above, so below.
Yeah. So okay, you wrestling, you all that stuff. You graduate high school. What happens when you graduate high school?
Well, me and my dad ran a barbecue company for like 9 years. So from
Okay.
2011 to 2019, 2020.
Like, did he do that on the side as a border agent as well, or?
So once he was doing it on the side as a border patrol agent, just because he liked to cook for people. Like
Mhm.
think about the border patrol. There's people from all over the country come to the border to secure the border, but they're not around their family. They leave their wife,
Yeah.
kids, moms, dads,
Mhm.
all this stuff. So for Thanksgiving, all that stuff, my dad would cook for these people. He would just like throw down 30 turkeys, freaking, all on his
Yeah.
time, and he
Yeah. The
would still
party
be
host.
working
Okay.
on top of that.
Yeah.
So my dad just loved cooking for people. So when it came up to his buddy Manny's retirement party, he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna pay you, but I want you to barbecue for my retirement party." So we
Mhm.
barbecued like 10 briskets for his
Nice.
gigantic retirement party, and from then on, just like we were on, just every weekend somebody wanted us, somebody wanted us. So finally, we made the banners, we made the business cards, and my dad did that for 2 years while he had an injury in border patrol, fell off a cliff while he was tracking a group, so he had to get a knee and a hip replacement. So while he was recovering from that, we were just barbecuing, and we made enough money to buy a pit. We bought a $6,000 lane barbecue pit.
Mhm.
And from there, it was just competition, competition, competition. We won Del Mar Grill Fest twice, 2 years in a row. We sold out Del Mar Grill Fest 2 years.
Oh shit, that's
Um,
dope.
yeah, my dad's barbecue is the goddamn best, and I think
Yeah.
me and my brother, and even my little sister are the only ones who can replicate it.
Okay. So the September
So
boxing
we just
mixer.
did the. Oh yeah,
Are you catering a September boxing mixer out here in AZ? You just tell me what you need. I'll
How,
make sure it happens.
can you get me a pit out there? Because I can come early. I can come like 3 days early,
Yeah.
and we can secure a
Yeah.
pit and then
Yeah.
barbecue. So barbecue, it's gonna take like 18, 24 hours to cook because I go real low, real slow.
Yeah. I'll hit you up after this, and we'll hash some details, hash some logistics, see if we can make it happen. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll do that.
That'd
I'm
be
down
super
with it.
dope. Hell yeah, that'd be awesome.
I make all my seasonings and all my sauces and stuff too. So I'll make
Hmm.
all that like pre, and I'll just bring it up.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. If you
So
watching
that's
and
what
you
I
try
did
to do
after high
the
school.
boxing mixer, so
That's what I did after high school was just work with my
make
pops,
barbecue.
and then
Yeah.
I went to
That's dope.
college a year after that. Went to American Musical and Dramatic Academy.
Mhm.
I was always
Yeah.
in plays and stuff as a kid,
Yeah.
and I did 4 years of drama in high school. I started a improv comedy troupe in high school, and we took second place at a National Comedy Theater. So when I got to college, that's all I wanted to do was just be in movies, be in plays, doing all that stuff. But I just saw what I was learning was all common sense stuff. It wasn't anything that was like new. It was just stuff you should have known getting into the business. So I was
Yeah.
like, man, I'm paying way too much money for to know what I already know, to just
Yeah.
confirm what I already know. So I was like, okay, I got out of there, uh, and yeah, after college, it just kind of went job to job. I
Did you
didn't
try to
really.
continue to pursue that though? Like, is acting and
I did.
theater
I did
something that
stand up.
you
I did
really
stand up
want to do?
comedy. I did stand up comedy. Fucking when I was 18 to about the time I was in college, and that's really what I wanted to do. Was like I was trying to get
Mm.
into the business through stand up and then get offers. So like the only
Okay.
offer I did with stand up was I opened for Francisco Ramos. I got like $60 for
Mhm.
5 minutes, and it was hard to find spots in LA, so I got rusty.
Yeah.
I didn't do any comedy in LA, and I just kind of stopped. And it was just like a death of a passion at that moment. So I kind of left school and I didn't really have any avenues to do theater or do any of that, and I was kind of lost, man. And I just went through like just different jobs, stuff I didn't really like, delivering donuts,
Mhm.
delivering materials, construction, uh, and then I got into bartending. And when I got into bartending, it was a really weird thing because it wasn't just one of those jobs you can just do, like put your head down and do. You have to actively be fucking bartender. Like just people
Yeah.
having real
100%.
problems in front of you, and people fighting in front of you, and people, telling me that I'm a bit like, I have to keep everybody in check. My boss,
Hmm.
my boss didn't hire a bouncer when I was there. I was just by myself. I was server,
Yeah.
bartender, and bouncer. So I had to really like check all these people. And I didn't train at the time, but I was just strong. I was probably like 325 pounds. And
you had a bit of a wrestling background, Muay Thai.
yeah,
A
yeah,
little bit.
but I'm
Yeah.
not training. I'm just lifting
Yeah.
kegs all day and walking around doing orders.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing real good at the bar. Like I start making more tips than anybody that I work with, and I work by myself, so I'm not stealing tips from nobody. But it just started this sort of rift in that dynamic, and my boss just canned me just out of nowhere. Was like, you know what, you're stealing customers from our other people. People are asking for you by name, so we're gonna cut you.
They let
And
you go for doing too well.
I did too much. I made a secret menu that you could only order when I was there, because like these people didn't give a fuck about cocktails. They didn't give a fuck about like any of that. They're like, here's your Coors Light, here's your whiskey, and you should go shut the fuck up. But I was like, no, here's a goddamn, cherry popper. Here's a goddamn, like different shit like that. Manhattan, anything. I wanted people to have a good time, and I wanted people to come back. But I got fired because I wasn't doing the bare minimum. And at that point, there was a guy. This is what reignited me wanting to fight again. There was a gentleman who was always very creepy with Paola, and I could never really fuck him up or do anything because he was very friends with the owner of my bar. And Paola worked down the street from the bar. I worked at the bar, and Randy lived fucking right down the street from the bar. And I was always like checking him, hey, dude, you need to calm down. Hey, don't say that. Hey, you need to. Well, when I was talking to my boss getting fired, Paola was hearing the conversation, so she was like, fuck that. And she walked over to Randy. She like walked over to Randy. So I'm looking for her, and I think of it, I'm like, damn, she's going to Randy. She's going to fuck up Randy. And so I got in the car, went over to Randy's, and Paola's walking back. And I pick her up, I was like, what happened? And I look at her hands, and her hands are all bloody. I'm like, what happened? She's like, I fucked up Randy. I was like, damn, well, if you're fighting, I'm fighting. So I went over to Randy's house, got out of the car. He said, hey, control your bitch. He's all fucked up. He's like, control your bitch. And it lit me off. Went to the front gate, kicked open the front gate, and I fucked up. I just started hitting him up. Boom, boom, boom. He covered up, pulled his hair down, I'll tell you what, I pulled him by his hair, pulled his hair down, and I uppercutted him like 7 times, grabbed him by the back of the shirt, put it over his head, and I threw him into his little wooden chair, and that shit went in splinters. Boom, everywhere. And so I took off with Paula and the Mercedes, jobless, and I felt like $1 million, dude. I felt like I took control of my life again. I wasn't just doing what the fuck people told me to do. You know what I mean? Like I had my fire and my fight in me again. And I have Paola to thank for that, for fucking up Randy. If she would have never fucked up Randy, I would have just been like, okay, well, I'm just jobless now. You know what I mean? And it just time to get another job. But after that, I was like, man, fuck that. I needed to fight. I needed to go train. I needed to, because I was tired in the car. I need to go train. I need to go do this again.
You threw 7 uppercuts and got exhausted, man. You sound like me, bro.
I did like 15 right straights. Yeah. Like it was like 15 right straights, like, BKFC where they did the little collar tie and they just punched. I did that and then that, and I threw him and I was like, I was done. I was done, that dude. Was a wrap. I went and I got a fucking protein shake, dude. I was done. Yeah. So I was like, man, I gotta train. And so around that time is when I joined Street Beast West Coast, and you guys see those older videos of me wearing a cowboy hat and I'm all fat, like throwing just nothing but hooks and like breaking bags and shit. I was like just focused on like, okay, I'm just gonna throw power shots as hard as I can.
How did you hear about Street Beast?
I had always seen them, like they've been around, you know what I mean? So I'd always seen them, like, hey, someone sends me a backyard fight, or you see like a crazy knockout. And I was like, and I want to go do this. And I didn't realize that we had a Street Beast West Coast branch. So when I realized there was a West Coast branch, I was like, fuck that. Went straight to Facebook, joined the group, and it was over. I think I saw the Shinigami versus Detail. And I was like, bro, I could fuck up Shinigami. Yeah. I could fuck up Shinigami. I was like, so let me join. So just being honest, like, I was like, okay, like, I saw Shinigami kick that dude, and I'm like, maybe I can't kick that high, but I will fucking punch his nose in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think all of us do that. We always see that. Everybody sees that backyard fight. Like, I could do that. I could beat that guy. And that's why they join, for sure. 100%.
Yeah. Well, you need an opponent. That's the thing about fighting, is you can't just sit there and fuck yourself up. Like, you need a perfect opponent. Sometimes it's that opponent that drives you to train and to really like focus on where you need to get better. 100%. Yeah. I'll look at just Jesse Drax from Battleborn. Like, that's just an example I could bring up. Like, Jesse Drax looks freaking mean. He's talented. He's got a little gas tank on him. Like they're about even, and you know, Battleborn's looking for that, and so is Jesse Drax. So they were perfect opponents for each other. Absolutely. I think Gorilla Pino was a perfect opponent for me. Because it's like, okay, let's get the scariest and hardest hitting dude out of the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. After that, you're like, I can do anything.
Mm-hmm. So like when I get opponents beforehand, I'm like, it gives me a certain level of anxiety, but at the same time, it motivates me to just really like get better in those certain areas where I can beat them, and focus my training.
I totally get that. So, you know about Street Beefs. You signed up on the Facebook group. Walk us through your first fight and leading up to it. That was your first time in competition ever, correct?
No. So a month before the Gorilla Pino fight, I wanted to get a tune-up fight before Street Beefs. I was like, I want to even just box in the first place before I go Street Beefs. And so there's this guy in the gym that I joined who, again, perfect opponent. Who, first day I joined, I was like, hey, because I saw him sparring hard. I was like, hey, I want to spar with you one day. And he's like, he blew me off. He's like, I kick your fucking ass. And I was like, okay, yeah, and I laughed it off. But for that month, until I got the fight night between me and Toda, who's a Samoan Mexican gentleman, I fucking trained hard. I went 2 times a day, boxing classes, 9 in the morning, 6 in the morning. I went to jiu-jitsu. I went to all that. And so when I boxed Toda, I didn't have the boxing technical skill. Like he would beat me to jabs, and he hit me with a few big right hands, but I didn't go down. I wasn't faltering. I wasn't tired, and I was hurting him. So by the 3rd round, when it ended, he slumped over the ropes, and I was still like in his face, like ready to fight. And so I was like, damn, like that's the confidence I needed. That's the little boost I needed. I was like, I can do this. Like I can still be in this fight even after the belt's over. Like I'm still gonna be standing here. So when I went into the Gorilla Pino fight, that's why I didn't get matched up with Gorilla Pino. Gorilla Pino fought Rhino that day, and he knocked Rhino out in 9 seconds. And my opponent didn't show up that day, so I was very like upset. I was supposed to have an opponent, and I drove all this way, and I'm not gonna get it. Yeah, so I was like, well, what about him? Like he didn't even fight today. And they're like, what? He fought today? I was like, this is 9 seconds. He didn't even fight. Let him. Let's do MMA. And they're like, nah, we'll see. So they asked him to do an MMA match, and he didn't want to do MMA. He wanted to box. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, in my head, I was like, he doesn't want to do MMA because he thinks he can just knock me the fuck out. So like in my head, I took it as like a disrespect. All respect to Gorilla Pino, like I love that dude, but this is just my thought process at the time.
He's dope.
And so I was like, he thinks he can fucking knock me out. Like I'm gonna fuck him up. So I was like, nah, let's do it. Let's box. And so once we got to that boxing, like I know he hurt his foot, but I mean, give us 2 more rounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, he I was there. I remember that. He tore the bottom of a toe wide open. I don't know what it was, but he stepped on something and tore it wide open. Yeah.
But that's why, you know, I mean, like all respect to him, but I think I proved that I beat him regardless of the injury or not. And then if that's not the case, then I've been pushing for the rematch in MMA for a minute.
Tank, I know you're listening. We'll see what happens, man. The matchmakers know. I'm sure it's not a surprise to them.
Yeah, dude. I'm not looking forward to getting smacked in the face by those freaking bombs, but I think I can handle it. You know.
You got to do it. You got to find out, right? I get it. Ooh, Tank. Booked. Co-signed by the man himself. It's gonna happen.
That's what I say to that.
Yeah, DTP's a wild man. So, all right, you got your first couple fights out of the way. You know, 2, 3, 4 fights. You go up to scrapyard, you fight, and we all know your legend starts growing. Like DTP is a ferocious dude in the cage. Okay.
Yeah.
And we know where you're sitting at now. Let's talk about Power Slap. How did that come to be? And what can you talk about that? Is that something you can talk about?
I guess we'll find out. Yeah, I mean, I think I can talk a little bit about it.
Okay.
I was supposed to be
don't divulge too much. Don't divulge too much. Yep.
Nothing about it. It'll be all right.
Okay.
So with Power Slap, they actually found me through Street Beefs. They saw that Gorilla Pino fight, and one of the producers reached out to me and was like, "Dude, you could take a punch. I want to see if you want to do this Power Slap thing." And he didn't tell me it was connected to Dana White or UFC at all at the time. He said $1,000 and just go try out. You can do one or you can do two matches, but $1,000 regardless. I was like, $1,000 to go slap somebody off?
Absolutely.
Like, easy mode. So we went, and turns out like it's owned by Dana White, and turns out that it's going to be kind of like the Ultimate Fighter in its structure and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like really pleasantly surprised. You know, usually like you go do something like that and you come back missing a kidney and stuff. But you know, it worked out really well, and I did my 2 preliminary matches. I won both of those matches by unanimous decision, so we went the distance on both of them. I didn't foul, none of that. And it was awesome. They gave me a performance bonus and everything, so they gave me double the pay, and they said they wanted me back. So for this new season coming out, I'm not going to be on there. I was supposed to be on there, but I had an injury where my nose was broken and my rib was broken, so I wasn't able to compete. But this next season, I'll be on the next season, and then you'll see me also in the show against John Davis. He's in the show, so you'll see me in the show. But I'm not going to be one of the guys in the house yet.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's super dope.
Shout out Power Slap, January 18th, world premiere, TBS. Set your DVR. Does people still DVR things?
I mean, probably. I can't imagine they don't.
If you're over 65, set your DMR, whatever. If you're under 65, get the app on TBS.
Yeah, no, that shout out to Power Slap for using Street Beefs to find people. Like, that's super dope. Like, I can't imagine they wouldn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean they asked me for more people because they had AJ already, and they had me and One Eyed Wolf, and we're all connected to Street Beefs in one way or another. And they asked me for more people, and I was like, got you. And I gave them like 3 names.
Yeah, absolutely.
All Street Beefs guys.
Good. That's awesome. That is awesome.
So it adds to the legitimacy of Street Beefs. You know what I mean? Like the first time I went over there, they didn't even really want my record because it didn't count. But the second time I went, they were like, hey, what's your record in Street Beefs again? So, the tide is changing, gentlemen.
Yeah. Because it's promotable. It's marketable. And that's what it is. Like, that's what they're finding out. Like, as far as a sanctioned organization, we're not that. But as far as a feeder organization that you can use the clout people already have, I mean, some of you guys have major clout, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you are a perfect example. You have a lot of clout here. You're very, very marketable. You're a guy that people see. You do what you do. You do it well. And it's easy to like you, but it's also easy to fear you when somebody steps in that cage with you, or fear for the person that's in there. You're like, oh fuck, that dude's gonna get hurt. You know what I mean? Like, it's very easy to fear for your opponent, and that makes you even more likable and more marketable. Yeah. So yeah, it's super dope.
They gotta love it because it's a win-win on both situations. Like they don't have to promote us or make us. We already made ourselves, and they just pluck us. Like, here you go. Here's some money.
Exactly. Yeah. That's super, super dope. Yeah, that reel went off on IG. It did.
Oh, my last one? I was not expecting that, bro.
Yeah.
That's a catchy song, though. You got to admit. Pack it full of lit. Now, get paid like on. That was my thing, dude.
Yeah. So, what's next for DTP? What's next?
Whatever the fuck I want. I'm sorry.
I love it.
No, March is going to be the first pay-per-view for Power Slap, and it's looking like I'm going to be on that. So that's going to be next. So other than the title match we have coming up, I'm not going to do anything until I do that March event. And then after March, who knows? The world is my oyster.
Yeah.
September, obviously.
Okay, September. How about as far as your career, your Street Beefs career, do you have anybody that you want to still compete against? That you really want to.
I want to do Nasty Native for sure. We were going to do that in March because we had already talked about that.
Okay.
but
Yep.
the professional career takes precedent over this, unfortunately.
Understandably so. Yep. Understandably
Um,
so.
but I think that we got to make that happen if I go to Dirty South. Like, I want to go to the Dirty South and compete against Nessie Native in his home turf and
Mm-hmm.
collect all the little rings of all the yards.
All the
And as
Infinity
far as the
rings. Yeah.
regular Street Beefs yard, I really don't know who would be a good opponent. Um, but I think as champion in West Coast, it would only make sense to fight the champions. So once I become champion in West Coast, I want to go to all the yards and fight their champions.
Definitely makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Um, as far as the Nasty Native going down to Dirty South, I highly suggest that. He puts on a good show. Everybody's super cool. If they do it at the venue they did last time, it's a huge bar with a bunch of sports and stuff like that. We're playing volleyball, having a great time like the night afterwards.
Yeah,
It was really cool. Yep.
he's a good dude. I think I've only talked to him in person once or
He
twice, but he's an awesome
he's
dude.
really cool. Yeah, he's one of the first Street Beast people I ever met.
Oh,
Because
okay.
he was out. Yeah, he was out the first Street Beast West Coast 3, I think it was, maybe 6.
Mm.
Yeah, he's one of the first people that I ever met. It was really cool. What's up, Zed?
What's up, Zed?
Yeah. So as far as the professional career goes, is that now a power slap career? Or you aiming for MMA, pro career in MMA? What are you trying to do?
No, I can still fight separate from this contract. So like, the only thing I really can't do is other slap promotions and like,
Mhm.
I think professional wrestling. But
Okay.
other than that, I could still do professional boxing, professional MMA. I think I'm not feeling professional MMA yet. I still want to work my hands and do professional boxing first. I think by the end of the year, get some amateur matches in boxing with my coach and stuff, and something kind of separate from Street Beefs, um, and start like going down that road. Um, but there's avenues to do professional boxing matches here in Mexico, like all the
Absolutely.
time,
Mhm.
all the time. And I want to go knock out some Mexican heavyweights and prove that I can dog it out with those guys, and get into professional boxing.
Okay, I think that's a phenomenal avenue right there. Mexico has like Mexican boxers in general, huge sport out there. So it's very easy to find pro fights. Do those
Oh
pro
yeah,
fights over there count over here in the
pro
U.S.? Like, do
fights.
you
I
have
think pro
to?
fights in the world, like, because boxing is a world sport.
Yeah.
I think as long as
Okay.
it's professionally sanctioned, they will count on your boxing record.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So you can't
I
go over
think
to
I think I
Mexico.
think it well, I would like to, right? Because
Yeah.
my coach has a bunch of connections over there, but
Mhm.
but and that's just where I come from and stuff. So
Well, what I'm saying
where
is
my blood
you
comes from.
what I'm saying is you can't go to Mexico, get a bunch of fights, and then come back over here and say I'm 0-0. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No,
Okay,
it'll
that's
be
good.
fine.
Yeah,
My
that's
record
good.
will still count.
Okay, good. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So, that about wraps us up, except for questions. Does anybody have any questions for DTP? He's he's in the studio. He's a man of many talents. There you go.
Anybody have any requests? I'll sing you a song.
Yes, he will sing you a song.
I'm 25, Mike.
25. Shout
25
out
years
Mike
old. I'll
100.
be
What's up, big dog?
26 in June
Yep.
2nd.
Just a young man. Hey, how long you and Paolo been together?
We just did our 3-year anniversary in October, and it will be 4 years, October 10th
Oh,
next
nice.
year, or this
That's
year.
cool, man. Yeah. And I have her on the list to be on the show too. Definitely.
Really?
Yo, hell yeah. She's been at almost every event. Like, and just real talk, the two of you, there's about maybe 3 or 4 couples, people that are dating that are really a part of Street Beefs, and you guys are definitely the couple goals. Like, you guys are
Oh,
one
dude,
of the
that's
couple
awesome.
goals. Yeah, for sure. Like, watching you two interact, how you support each other and everything. I mean, I remember one of those fights. You both slept in the car just so you could
Yeah,
fight the next day. Like, it's not.
we were both gonna sleep in the
Yeah,
car because we didn't have no money to. We just had money for gas. We didn't have money for a hotel.
yeah. I remember that, man. It
And
was
thanks to you, man, you put us up in your hotel.
Oh, you're
So I
welcome, man.
appreciate
You're
you,
welcome. Not a
100%.
problem. Yeah, but I mean, she was just gonna crash in the car with you so you can fight the next day. Like,
She's
that's
a rider,
dedication,
bro.
man. She
She's a
is.
rider.
That's so dope.
If I have like a fight coming up, she's like, wants to fight people for me so I don't get hurt. You know what I mean? Like, we're on the road. She's like, I got this. I'm like, no, you good. We're not even fighting right now.
Yeah.
It's okay.
When are you dropping to light heavyweight? I'm gonna just give you the title when you drop down. You're too scary, paw. Punch, punch, punch. That's Takamura. That's Takamura.
I got a little fat with my injury, so I'm like 255 right now.
Yeah.
But I'm right on track to keep going down. I think probably by June or July, I want to test light heavyweight waters. But as a light heavyweight, I still want to fight in heavyweight. So it's not like I'm relinquishing anything. Like, if it's mine, it's fucking mine.
Why?
And why not?
Because
I've already been fighting guys.
I mean, in street beefs, I understand that's fine. But if you're shooting for a pro boxing career,
oh no, in pro is different, but in here,
street beefs,
I want to fight both. Yeah. In pro, yeah, I would want to be a light heavyweight, just because I would fight guys that are more of my stature and build and stuff like that.
Yes.
And I could cut weight and be right on point, not have to cut too much weight.
Absolutely. Okay. That definitely makes
And it's power slap too. If I want to do light heavyweight and power slap, that'd be dope.
Yeah, that'd be really dope. Absolutely. So yeah.
That would be you'd see me and Duva versus each other.
Ooh, bro.
Slapping the fuck out of each other on the big screen.
Yeah. Did that happen already, or is that you live to see?
No. If I go down light heavyweight, there's a possibility I could slap Duva if he doesn't go down.
Yeah. Okay. So what about fighting Duva? Like if you go down to light heavyweight.
Oh, we talked about that. We talked about that in the Apex. We talked about that in the Apex. I said, dude, I'm moving down, and I was like, I know that like you're not getting your belt shot because there's not really somebody of your caliber. And I'm not saying I'm of your caliber, but I'm fucking down. And I was like, and I get down to light heavyweight. I was like, let's do that title match, me and you.
You're definitely of his caliber. You guys are top MMA guys in street beefs for sure. Yeah, absolutely. You're definitely like Duva's he's a whole different animal, man. Both of you are.
He's a whole fucking mess. And God damn it, God bless him.
He's got it all. He's got the ground game, and he's just mean. Like when you
dude,
he's just fucking mean. Like both of you are. That would be.
I love it.
That would be an event if you two ever clash. We will have to hire some first responders to be on staff at the event, bro. No joke.
Fuck yeah, dude. You guys
too
can't stop it. If we're bleeding, you can't stop it. That would be fucked up. Don't do that to us, bro.
Don't bleed. I mean, what do you want?
No, we're going to keep fighting.
Don't do elbows, no bleeding, yeah. So, but yeah, my man, I appreciate you being on the show, bro. Shout out anybody. Tell them your socials, whatever you want to do, bro.
Oh, man. Shout out Bala, first and foremost. I love her. Shout out to you guys for putting on this show for us, man. This is all about the fighters, and I see that, and I really appreciate that. Shout out Barefisted Podcast. We're going to start streaming again. That's my podcast with Ryan Phillips, Jesse Busta Nutting, and Devin Schwan, and myself, and the Iron Giant. We always have guests and stuff, and it's always a good time over there. So when you guys are not on Locked In with Wero, come check out Barefisted Podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out Barefisted Podcast. That's dope. Are you guys streaming on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or anything?
We're on Twitch. We are on Twitch. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I think we're gonna start dual casting here pretty soon, but we're figuring all that out.
Okay. Awesome. That's dope, man. Well, all right, bro. You have a good night. And again, I appreciate you being on.
Thank you, sir. Am I gonna see you January? The event?
No, it does not.
No,
I will not be.
Okay.
Yeah, I have too much. So, since the Hot Box is hosting the March event, I have a lot of stuff to set up and get ready. There was a lot of I don't want to say complaints, but some suggestions for me to change at the Hot Box from the last event. Making the cage a little shorter so people can see over it a little better, that type of stuff. So that's going to take up a lot of my time here in the next few weeks. So that's what I'll be working on. Plus, Locked In.
Well, hell yeah.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it, brother. And hopefully for the March event, if it doesn't conflict with the time, I can go out and do some reffing for you guys or announcing for you guys. That'd be awesome.
Bro, you got an open invitation out here.
Absolutely.
If you're not fighting, then you have an open invitation to show up and ref and just hang out, man. Smoke weed.
Thank you,
whatever.
brother.
Chill. All right, homie.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Have a good one, guys. Good night.
Yeah, so that's DTP. It's fascinating dude. He's a super cool guy, very, very humble, but very, very aggressive and skillful in that cage, man. We appreciate him for that. So, yeah, stay tuned. I've got Jay got him next week, man. So you guys absolutely stay tuned. Appreciate you watching, man. Have a good night.